It goes without saying, if you're not doing the right thing, you're doing the wrong thing. But what exactly is doing the right thing? Well, for starters, most spiritual traditions place a lot of emphasis on not doing the wrong thing. A rather negative way of looking at things. But then again, I suppose most organised religions, particularly in Western culture, do take the negative approach. Apart from the odd exhortation to love your neighbour as yourself, or to love your enemies, we are given very little guidance. And therein perhaps lies the problem, because as modern people, we want guidance. We want others to take responsibility for our own actions. From the Nazi foot soldier who was simply following orders, to the modern day banker who did nothing illegal, technically, we don't like taking responsibility for our own actions. Of course, if you are looking to someone else to take responsibility for your actions, then you might think in your own little warped mind that you don't need to worry about doing the right thing. But we all need to be concerned as to whether we're doing the right thing or the wrong thing, because there are no half measures. Nobody is partly honest, nor is anybody half virtuous. The point I would make, however, is that it isn't something we need to worry about. Doing the right thing is something we should joyfully embrace, because there are huge benefits to doing the right thing. Indeed, there are huge downsides to doing the wrong thing. For starters, millennia-old spiritual traditions have told us that what goes around comes around. As you sow, so shall you reap. Buddhists might call it karma. To put it in ordinary, everyday, simple, modern language, if you lie, don't be surprised if you're lied to. If you steal, don't be surprised if you're conned. If you're dishonest, don't be surprised if somebody is actually doing something awful behind your back. The point I'm making is that if you actually, for example, play with people's lives the way a lot of modern managers in business do, then don't be surprised if you fall on your own sword. And I've seen it happen on a number of occasions with a vengeance. Now, you might be of a mind that says, business is business, but all is fair in love and war. But that is not actually the case, because if you are messing with other people's lives, you are not playing the game of life by the appropriate rules. So what are the appropriate rules for this game of life? Well, unfortunately, there are no written rules. Unlike a laptop or a new car, we did not come with a user's manual. We have to discover these rules for ourselves. Now, some of the things I said just a moment ago in terms of what you put in, you get out, might actually give you a little more than a subtle hint of what the rules actually are. From a philosophical or spiritual perspective, one might say that you get what you deserve. From the perspective of quantum physics, it's even simpler. Energy in, energy out. Really, really simple. And what that means is that if you do something bad to somebody, something bad will be done to you. Not necessarily by the same person, not even on the same day. There may be a big long time gap. But the point is, as quantum physics has proved, what you put into the universe, you get out. Now, the big problem is, with normal people, unfortunately, that they put almost nothing in at all. Decades of psychological research prove conclusively that normal people put about 1% of their mental energy into that game of life. In other words, to look at it from the perspective of quantum physics, nothing in, nothing out. No wonder normal people are wandering around, wondering why nothing great ever happens to them. No wonder normal people are wandering around saying that their lives are not too bad. If they could even put in 2% energy, in other words, double their effort in living life to the full, the return they would get would be enormous. They would stand head and shoulders above the crowd, even if they were putting their energy into bad stuff. point I'm making is that put a little more energy into living in the here and now, and whatever actions you are using that energy for will enable you stand out above the crowd. Whether it is somebody like Mother Teresa of Calcutta, or Adolf Hitler, Nelson Mandela, or Pol Pot. More energy in, more energy returned. The key point is that in putting more of your energy into living your life, you really do have to be concerned about doing the right thing. So how will you know for sure what doing the right thing is? Well, first of all, I suppose a rough rule of thumb might be, don't do to others what you wouldn't like done to yourself. But I think we need to know a little bit more than that. If at some level something you're doing doesn't feel right, then you need to make sure that you take a different course of action. Now, what level might that be? Because bear in mind, for example, something might feel right to a normal person that is actually completely inappropriate, because after all, if normal people are only 1% here, normal people are mad. How would they know what doing the right thing is? What you need to do in relation to every major action that you take in your life is that you need to pause and reflect for just a moment in a calm, clear and present state of mind as to whether you're going in the right direction or the wrong direction. That pause for reflection is key, because if you don't pause to reflect, your subconscious mind will make up your mind for you. And God knows what you'll end up doing. Probably, if you're a normal person, you'll end up continuing to do the wrong thing, and that is a very, very slippery slope. We all need to pause and reflect, even if it's only for a split second, to prevent us reacting and to enable us take real action. You pause by cultivating a clear and present state of mind. A clear and present state of mind, like a vegetable patch from which you expect to receive lovely vegetables, needs to be cultivated, needs to be weeded, needs to be watered. You need to cultivate your clear and present state of mind. And really, the best way to do that is through meditation. Loads of information on my website in relation to meditation. Loads of simple tips in relation to ensuring that you cultivate, develop and live in a clear and present state of mind. Doing the right thing flows from that.